Help! Help! He's got me! Liam Carter's voice ripped through the Miami sun, a raw, desperate scream that stopped AquaRealm Stadium cold. For one agonizing second, the world froze. The pop music blasting over the speakers cut out. The crowd's cheers turned to gasps, then a wave of screams. From the pool's edge, a trainer hollered, "Emergency protocol! Drop the net! The net!" But the net didn't budge, its gears jammed tight. Another trainer, hands shaking like leaves in a storm, stumbled to the call box and slammed the alarm. "Taro's not responding! He's not responding!" In the stands, kids sobbed, their cotton candy forgotten. Parents stood paralyzed, some clutching their phones, others covering their eyes. Liam broke the surface one last time, blood streaking his face, his voice a broken whisper. "Please, help." Then Taro, the 13,000-pound orca, dragged him under again. And this time, he didn't come back. It was February 23rd, 2025, and AquaRealm in Miami was alive with the kind of energy only a perfect Florida afternoon could bring. The sky was a cloudless blue, the kind that made you believe summer never ended. Families packed the stands, kids pressing their noses against the glass, waiting for the orca show that was the park's beating heart. Popcorn crunched underfoot, and the air smelled of sunscreen and anticipation. AquaRealm wasn't just a theme park. It was a dream factory, selling the magic of the ocean to anyone with a ticket. At the center of it all was Liam Carter, a 38-year-old trainer with a smile that could light up a room and a knack for making orcas dance like they were his partners, not his pupils. For 18 years, Liam had been the face of AquaRealm, his face plastered on brochures, his name shouted over loudspeakers. They called him Ocean's Maestro, a nod to the way he moved with the whales, like a conductor leading a symphony. To the crowds, he was a hero. To his colleagues, he was a legend. To the orcas, he was something else entirely. Family, maybe, or the closest thing they had to it in their world of glass and concrete. But beneath the glossy surface of AquaRealm's orca show, trouble was brewing. Taro, the star of the performance, wasn't like the other whales. At 13,000 pounds, he was a mountain of muscle and mind, born in captivity and raised under the glare of stadium lights. He'd never known the open sea, never chased a current or hunted with a pod. His world was a tank, his life a cycle of cues and rewards. Trainers said Taro was different, too smart, too observant. His eyes, dark and unblinking, seemed to see right through you, like he was sizing you up, weighing your every move. Over the years, he'd shown flashes of rebellion, ignoring commands, slapping the water with his tail, or lingering underwater just long enough to make everyone nervous. Liam, though, saw something else in Taro, a spark, a soul. "He's not a machine," he'd say. "He's got a heart, same as us." Liam Carter wasn't born for the spotlight, but he was born for the water. Growing up in a small coastal town in North Carolina, he'd spent his childhood diving into the Atlantic, chasing crabs and dreaming of the deep. By 19, he was a biology major with a part-time gig feeding fish at a local aquarium. It was there, watching a dolphin glide through a tank, that he found his calling. "I didn't choose the ocean," he'd later tell friends. "It chose me." He landed at AquaRealm in his early 20s, a lanky kid with a quiet intensity and a gift for connecting with animals. The orcas took to him right away, responding to his calm voice and steady hands. By 25, he was a full-fledged trainer. By 30, he was running the Orca program, a prodigy in a wetsuit. His colleagues called him fearless, but that wasn't quite right. Liam wasn't fearless. He was trusting. He believed in the bond between man and beast, believed it could bridge the gap between their worlds. If you treat them like partners, he'd say, they'll have your back. That trust came with a price. Liam logged more free swims, unprotected dives in the main tank, than any trainer in AquaRealm's history. He'd shrug off the safety protocols, the harnesses, the backup divers. "Taro knows me," he'd say, flashing that easy grin. He'd never hurt me. Even when others raised concerns about Taro's mood swings, about the risks of swimming with a 13,000-pound predator, Liam held firm. He'd seen Taro at his best, playful and gentle, and he believed that was the real Taro. For 18 years, that belief held true, until it didn't. Taro was a paradox, a captive king, a creature of immense power trapped in a world too small for him. Born in a tank, he'd been trained from birth to perform, to leap and spin for crowds who'd never understand the cost. But Taro wasn't a blank slate. He was a thinker, a planner. Trainers noticed it early. The way he'd pause before following a cue, like he was deciding whether to obey. Other orcas jumped for fish. Taro seemed to weigh the reward against the effort. "He's got a mind of his own," one handler said, half in awe, half in fear. Over the years, Taro's quirks turned into red flags. In 2022, during a routine session, he'd grabbed a junior trainer's leg and held her underwater for 30 seconds. She surfaced, gasping, her knee bruised, her confidence shattered. The park called it playful curiosity, but the staff knew better. "That was a warning," one whispered. Taro had other incidents too, refusing to leave the main tank, slamming his tail against the gates, ignoring food unless it came from Liam. Each time AquaRealm downplayed it. The show was too big, the money too good. Taro was a star, and stars don't get benched. Some blamed Taro's behavior on stress. Life in a tank, with no pod, no ocean, no freedom, could break even the strongest spirit. Others thought he was lonely, cut off from the social bonds orcas crave. Liam had his own theory. Taro was bored. "He's smarter than we give him credit for," he'd say. "He needs more than tricks and fish." Liam pushed for changes. More toys, more time off, more mental stimulation. He wrote emails, held meetings, even drafted a proposal for a sanctuary where Taro could retire. But AquaRealm's management had other priorities. Ticket sales were up. The Orca show was the park's golden goose, and Liam was its keeper. "Everything's fine," they'd tell him. "Taro's just being Taro." AquaRealm sold itself as a slice of paradise, a place where humans and animals could meet in harmony. But behind the choreographed splashes and smiling trainers, the truth was uglier. For years, the park had dodged safety violations. Faulty gates, outdated emergency systems, undertrained staff. Former employees, bound by NDAs, whispered about near misses swept under the rug, a trainer clipped by a tail, a gate that wouldn't close, a net that hadn't worked in months. Fines were paid, reports filed, and the show went on. The orcas bore the brunt of it. Their schedules were grueling. Multiple shows a day, little downtime, and isolation for those who didn't play ball. When Taro started acting out, management's response was to double down, pushing trainers to enforce stricter control. Whistleblowers had tried to sound the alarm, but they were silenced, fired, discredited, or bought off. Liam wasn't a rebel, but he wasn't blind either. He'd started asking questions, pushing for less stress on Taro, fewer free swims, more time for the whale to just be a whale. Each time, he was met with the same refrain. "We've got it under control." February 23rd started like any other show day. The sun glinted off the orca pool. turning it into a mirror of the sky. Tourists streamed in, kids tugging at their parents' hands, eager for a splash. Backstage, Liam was in his element, joking with the team as he checked the show sheet. He suited up, his wetsuit snug against his lean frame, and took his usual hour alone with Taro. To the handful of trainers watching, it was a beautiful sight. Liam gliding through the water, Taro following like a shadow, their movements perfectly in sync. "Looks like a good day," one said. But there were signs, subtle and overlooked. Taro's pacing was faster than usual, his dorsal fin twitching in a way it hadn't before. He didn't vocalize during Liam's hand signals, a break from his normal chatter. When Liam turned to climb out, Taro's eyes stayed fixed on him, unblinking. "He's just got some extra energy," Liam said, brushing it off with a laugh. He didn't see the storm coming. None of them did. At 2:15 p.m., the stadium roared to life. Music blasted, a thumping pop beat that got the crowd clapping. Liam jogged onto the platform, waving with both hands, his grin as bright as the sun. Taro breached beside him, a wall of water soaking the front rows. The crowd went wild, kids squealing, cameras flashing. It was the kind of opening that made AquaRealm famous. Liam dove in, launching into the trust spiral, his signature move. He and Taro spun together, their bodies cutting through the water in perfect harmony. For a moment, it was magic. Man and whale united in a dance that felt like it could last forever. Then Taro broke the script. Instead of spinning, he circled Liam, slow and deliberate, his massive body casting a shadow. Liam, still playing to the crowd, signaled again. Taro ignored him. His tail flicked, sharp and hard, sending a ripple across the pool. The audience clapped, thinking it was part of the act. The trainers on the deck weren't so sure. Taro's breathing quickened. His eyes locked on Liam with a focus that sent a chill down one trainer's spine. "Something's off," she muttered, but the music drowned her out. Liam, treading water, kept smiling, his hand extended for the next cue. Taro circled closer, his dorsal fin slicing the surface like a blade. The crowd waited for the big leap, the one that always brought the house down. But Taro wasn't leaping. He was hunting. At 2:22 p.m., the dream became a nightmare. Taro surged from below, his jaws closing around Liam's torso with terrifying precision. The force lifted Liam out of the water, his body twisting in the air before crashing down with a bone-jarring thud. A scream ripped through the stadium, not Liam's, but the crowd's. Blood bloomed in the water, a red haze spreading fast. Kids wailed, their parents frozen, some reaching for phones, others turning away in horror. "Emergency protocol, now!" a trainer shouted, sprinting for the alarm. The net system, meant to section off the tank, didn't move. The underwater buzzer, designed to call Taro back, was ignored. Taro dragged Liam under, his thrashing body churning the water. For 20 seconds, the surface was still, the crowd holding its breath. Then Liam broke free, gasping, his face a mask of blood, one arm hanging limp. "Help me," he choked, his voice barely audible. Taro grabbed him again, this time by the leg, and pulled him down. Trainers scrambled, desperate to act. One tossed a bait bucket into the pool, hoping to distract Taro. Another banged an aluminum pole against the water's edge. Nothing worked. Taro surfaced, Liam's body caught in his jaws, his arms reaching weakly for the surface. The crowd was evacuating now. Ushers shouting over the chaos, kids sobbing as they were hustled out. Taro breached one final time, leaping high and landing with Liam beneath him. The impact sent a shock wave through the pool, the water exploding in a white spray. Then silence. No bubbles, no movement. Liam Carter was gone. The attack lasted 6 minutes, but it felt like a lifetime. By the time Taro released Liam's body, the stadium was empty, the stands littered with abandoned snacks and hats. Divers rushed in, pulling Liam from the water. His wetsuit was shredded, his chest caved in, blood pooling beneath him. Paramedics worked for 15 minutes, their hands slick, their faces grim. At 2:48 p.m., Liam was pronounced dead. The autopsy listed catastrophic blunt trauma, punctured lungs, and drowning. But those who knew him knew the truth cut deeper. News of the tragedy spread like wildfire. By nightfall, shaky cell phone videos were everywhere. Hashtags like #FreeTheOrcas and #JusticeForLiam trending worldwide. Protesters gathered at AquaRealm's gates, holding signs with Liam's face and Taro's name. Candlelight vigils sprang up, mourners leaving flowers, notes, and seashells. Liam's brother, Ethan, spoke at a memorial, his voice thick with grief. He loved those whales like they were his own, but the park failed him. They failed Taro. A leaked report a month later laid bare the park's sins. 15 safety violations in 2 years, from a broken net system to untrained staff. Liam's emails, warning of Taro's aggression, had been dismissed as overreacting. The public was furious. AquaRealm shut down its Orca program, and Taro was moved to a sea sanctuary, his freedom a bittersweet victory. Lawsuits piled up, and the park's reputation sank like a stone. Liam Carter's death wasn't just a tragedy. It was a reckoning. It exposed the cost of turning wild, sentient creatures into circus acts, of valuing profit over lives. Orcas like Taro aren't props. They're beings with emotions, instincts, and breaking points. Keeping them in tanks, forcing them to perform, is a betrayal of their nature. For trainers like Liam, the lesson is to trust their gut, to speak up even when it's hard. For the rest of us, it's about questioning the systems we prop up, the shows we pay to see. Liam's legacy isn't in the applause he earned. It's in the fight for a world where no one, human or animal, pays the price for our entertainment. His death planted a question we can't ignore. Are we here to protect the wild, or to exploit it? The answer's up to us.